Good morning and welcome back to the World 14.1 Tournament. We're here in New Brunswick, New Jersey, here at the Hyatt Regency Hotel. I'm J.R. Calvert with Inside Pool Magazine. Joining me is George Fells from Billiards Digest. Good morning, George.
Good morning, J.R. Nice to be here semi-traitorously working for the competition. Of course, the idea is to bring more good pool to more people. I don't think they'll mind, but it's worth noting that I didn't have the temerity to ask if I could.
Well, we're here for a real good match this morning. We've got John Schmidt versus Mika Immonen. The players are getting introduced by tournament director John Lehman. And this is a match to 200.
This boy's got a lot of pull.
Ton of pull.
Both these men have run that many balls. I don't think we're going to see it today, but these players are capable of running those kinds of balls. And these are two of America's finest younger players. And when I say young, I mean neither man is 40 yet. That's young to me.
Well, I think that we're going to need to get a ref here right away.
We got a conflict on the leg. I guess John won. Nice to see the dress code taking place in the tournament. It won't eliminate Danny Brudy's hat, but at least it brings some touch of dignity.
Well, I think the players look especially nice.
They look good in their vests. They do, and it's a welcome change from jeans and T-shirts.
See, Mika's given the one ball, a little extra polish. Is that the 8 ball?
Also, we should advise our viewers this game is being played on brand new cloth, just put in last night because of a slight tear the day before.
Well, it is the World Championship.
Players had trouble breaking the balls last night on this table. I don't expect to see that now. Cloth is said to be playing fast anyway. Brand new, there's no telling where it's going to go. We'll be able to tell on the break, though.
Yeah, definitely. I think we're going to see it down in the corner. Let's see how this ball reacts coming off this rail.
Well, if he didn't leave that corner ball dead, that's a fine break. And he brought the ball back to the head rail, 3 rails short. And Grady Matthews says on new cloth that's the way you're supposed to do it. On the other hand, Dan DiLiberto, advised of Grady's concept, says that makes no sense whatsoever. So it's hard to know whom to believe, but most players will play that 3 rails short. John does not have a shot here. He's going to play safe off that lone ball near the foot rail. And you can shut your opponent off on the opening break. You're doing well, especially in this kind of competition.
Look at this.
Well, he left a ball out there and a break shot underneath the pack. If Mika chooses to play it that way, he'll have to spin the 14. A little bit of left.
That 13 ball underneath the stack does look like it goes.
It does.
Not sure that he has the ability to get down there.
Mika shoots fearlessly. Yeah, that's what I get for opening my mouth.
Way to jinx him, George.
Yeah, all right. If it keeps going like that, we're going to be here quite a while. John's looking at the stack. I don't see anything in there. Our match at noon will feature Ray Martin, and if you want to see somebody play who knows how to read a stack, that would be your guy. Ray's been the talk of the tournament, both because he hasn't been competitive in tournament play for 20 years and also because of his age. But the fact is, the aspects of Ray's game that made him great were his position sequences and his ability to read a stack, and those abilities do not erode with age, so it's not surprising to me that he's playing well. He's not known as a dazzling shot maker. He never had to be. He's rarely out of line.
Well, John's looking at that 2 ball real seriously here.
It all depends on where the 3rd ball removed is. The shot does not line up for the pocket, but it looks like it might be able to throw into that pocket depending on which 3rd ball he uses to trigger it with.
He may actually shoot off the ball that is at the top
use that ball for the combination. It's hard to tell what he's going.
That might turn it a different direction.
He just played that straight in the corner. He's trying to follow for the ball below the stack. He didn't quite get there. There are safeties available here, but he did not get past a run of one.
Well, right now we're going to find out how he feels about that, too.
Now remember, when you read combination shots, it's the third ball removed that dictates whether the shot will go or not. The 4 and the 6 line up for a few inches to the foot rail side of the pocket. We'll have to see if he can find a ball that will throw it sufficiently, or maybe he'll just pass it up. He's looking at it to see if maybe he can make it from below.
He really thinks he can kick into this 13-8. And he's going to get that 6 to wipe off the 2 going up towards the side pocket, because this deuce and the 6 must be lined into the foot rail. And he's playing the 2 with a kick shot here, folks.
He's going to drive half the stack up past the side pockets with this. Look out. Intercepted. Case of too many balls on the table. It was on its way.
Courageous.
Yeah. Well, he's got 200 points to experiment with. We'll see who can get their eyes open first. As predicted, there's a lot of balls out in the middle of the table, which you normally don't see in a good straight pool match, although Mike Siegel likes to break from underneath, simply because the center of the table is always open, and so he thinks that's a good place to send object balls.
Mike's been displaying some wizardry.
He's playing wonderfully.
Finding break shots that most people would not play.
Yeah, he's playing like he's 30 years younger than he is. And having a girlfriend 25 years younger doesn't hurt. The fact that she's gorgeous, well, that may or may not be a factor. But he's discovered the joys of chiropractic, and he's back in shape, and he's running in the mornings and feeling and playing great. Hasn't quieted him down any. Okay, and Mika went right after that little 3-ball cluster near the spot there. Take note, good straight pool players solve their problems sooner rather than later. It's like life. If you let the clusters go until too late in your sequence, you've painted yourself into a corner.
That's exactly right. We've been preaching that all week.
Mika's not stymied here, but he's trying to figure out how to create a break shot out of this mess. Remember, the players can't hear us. We're watching this game on a screen, same as you. Eliminates the problems called. Danny was calling a match with Siegel was playing, and the players were complaining all along that Danny could be heard. And his response was, well, I'm sorry about that, but I have to do my job. And at one point he announced that a shot Mike was contemplating was suicidal. Siegel turned around and said, it's not suicidal. Will you relax? And this is in front of the whole gallery. And then he missed the shot. There's the break shot.
There it is.
And he's got 2 key balls right above it, too. He's going to separate the 8 and 9, the 8 and the 1 balls here. That's all it takes. Small clusters, you don't have to drive them to hell and gone. All you have to do is separate them. He should get that ball up table off early here. Wouldn't want to see him leaving it till the last 2 or 3. I think the 11 and the 7 are the 2 he wants to save to get to his 3 ball.
I can see him using the 6 to come towards the 11 or the 7, because I actually see him, instead of shooting him in the side, I see him shooting him in the corner with that 6 there.
I think he'll use the 6 to get on the 5, and that will lead him to the 11. I think.
That's a good shot. That's a great shot, actually. He can run straight towards the 6 right now.
Right here. Chose to go 2 rails. That's a Mike Siegel ploy. Mike Siegel favors 2-rail position whenever he can execute it. In all games. 9-ball and 8-ball as well as this. If he had a little better angle on this ball, he could play it to get to the 7 first and then save the 11 for a key ball. But I'm probably going to do exactly what I said. Yeah.
Yep.
And note the modest angle. Straight-in shots are not quite the ally you think they are in straight pool. Slight angles are usually better. Not always true, of course, but generally speaking, that was ideally played. Hit this break shot with draw and probably break out, maybe 6 or 7 balls, but he has easy access to the center of the table, and that's the destination you want on your break shots. Notice that these games are neither refereed nor score kept until the tournament reaches the semifinal stages. That's one of the trademarks of Charlie's tournaments. Qualified people are hard to find and add to the overhead. This tournament is not a money-making venture. Never has been. It's done for the love of the game. And we should shout out to Dr. Michael Fidak, who's been an incredibly generous sponsor for the last few years, introduced to the game by Tony Robles, his teacher. Without Dr. Fedek, you wouldn't be having this meet.
I agree. Big shout out to him.
And how? Last night at the banquet, tribute was paid to Tony Robles for knowing people who have money. I guess that's a nice aspect to have. I wouldn't know. Mika went a little farther than he wanted to there.
He's going to possibly re-break the stack here and spread them up to the open side.
If he can get to the rack from the 9, from the 1, it looks like a very thin cut. And cutting the ball that thin, he may not be able to contact that corner ball.
Yeah,
Go 3 rails and play for that ball on the left-hand rail, maybe.
He's looking at the stack and what happens if he hits the 7.
And we really can't read
stuck.
We really can't read the angles from here. But as thin as he has to cut this ball, I don't think he's going to get stuck on the 7. And he had 2 safety valve balls over here to the left, and this is one of the earmarks of pattern position play. When you have secondary break shots and you have insurance balls after them, that's where pattern play begins to show up. Actually, the rest of this table could be run without ever touching a second object ball, which is the way to play the game. In this and all other forms of pool, you never want to touch a second object ball with the cue ball unless you have a purpose for it. It's probably going to be the 13 either in the corner or the side. He's going for the 6, I guess. And now he's above the balls, which is just about always where you want to be in straight pool. The center of the table is your great ally.
Somebody asked me yesterday, they said, how do you determine what spin you want to put on the ball when you're breaking the balls? And I said, well, you're probably going to hit a rail after the break shot. You generally want to make that spin after the cue ball goes to the rail, have it run a logical path that doesn't have a lot of obstructions bouncing at it. In other words, moving balls that would keep it from getting back to the center of the table.
Yeah, and the break shot Mika played getting into this rack is a very good example of using simplicity to gain the center of the table. The center of the table is where you figure to have the most options. Hello. Cindy Lee, president of Dragon Promotions, here with us. Looking good in a mini skirt. Makes it hard to focus on our work. Dirty old goats that we are. And as predicted, Mika did run this rack without ever having to touch a second ball. That's the way the game should be played. Okay, now he has a The cue ball object ball line here is nearly parallel to the side rail, and a lot of players are stymied by this. They don't know whether to follow or draw. Based on my experience, most players will draw this shot simply because it's easier to get back to the middle of the table. However, new cloth, polished balls, these conditions make it a lot easier to go through a rack rather than off it. That's the way Niles Fian plays. You always have two choices with break shots. You can go off the cluster, as Mika just did, or you can try and get through it. Didn't want quite that much draw, but it shouldn't be a problem. Not sure if he can see that ball nearest the corner pocket on our left. But if he can't, he has easy way. Yeah, I guess he can. Okay, now in taking off this 5, most players believe that you should leave a ball on the bottom rail until all the others are open. Mika probably won't have the opportunity to do that here. The reason you want to do that is in case your secondary break shots leave the cue ball low, you'll be grateful for the company down there rather than having to shoot up at the balls. That's why he's looking around here. The 5 ball is an easy shot, but he'd prefer to leave it there. He's going to take something else. Took the 8 and went to the center of the table again. That's good. I think he will play the 3 in the side after this. No, looks like he's going to go for either the 5 or 9.
I think he's going to go off the 5. He has to
He's going to come back into the cluster and use the 9 for a safety valve shot, I guess.
Hits the 6, he's fine. Hits the deuce, he's in trouble.
He went right in between them. Shut himself off from the 9 that he was saving, but he still has a side pocket shot. He may even have the 3 ball up in the corner. Can't tell from here.
It looks like the 3 in the corner is going to be the shot.
Looks like it will go.
Maybe go back 1 ball. Clear the 9 here.
Clear the 9. Both the 10 and the 2 are sitting as potential break shots, and maybe even the 1 if he takes the 2 first. Break shots from the side of the rack are the first choice of most players. Mike Siegel likes to break from underneath. Most players believe your best break shots are from the side of the stack. Okay, now that's the kind of shot you can get away with new cloth and polished balls. Typical commercial room, that shot would have been short-armed.
He's chose to eliminate these balls to get at this 3-ball cluster at the top of the rack, which is probably a good decision since he has a pretty good break shot on the 2.
He has a good break shot on the 2, but now he has to move a ball in that direction unless he can keep the cue ball free of those balls. All right, now the 1 will come off first, I guess, and he'll have to draw back slightly for that striped ball near the spot. 15, is it?
Yeah, that's the 15.
Yeah.
He is going to just shoot the 13.
13, 15, 5, I guess. It needs about maybe 3 degrees of angle here. I don't know if he's straight in or not.
I think he has about 3 degrees.
Yeah, 3 degrees would be enough. You can come straight back from that. A little bit of inside draw. There we go.
Did he get over there?
He would have liked another maybe 3 inches of roll. He can contact the stack, but he's going to have to drill this shot to get the balls to shake loose. Mika has now run 2 racks, and the only time his cue ball has taken on a second object ball is when he was separating clusters, and that's the way to play straight pool.
That's the way.
When you run into balls, you simply cannot predict where they or the cue ball will end up, and that's why you don't want to run into balls.
Well, you can predict, but you can't be certain.
You can't be certain, that's right. If you leave them sitting still, you know where they're going to be. I think the best Mika can hope for here is to contact the corner ball and get one or two balls to drop down on the back row. Looks like he's going to power this. You know.
Did he get it?
And that's the problem with the shot. He may have that head ball on the side. He may have the 11 in the corner. He doesn't look particularly sanguine, so I would suggest he does not.
That's our PA. Our trusty PA. Melissa has come by with coffee.
You can hardly do wrong with a good-looking woman, no matter what she bears. Nice fat sweet roll for you there. Oh, boy. Life is good.
Life is good.
Notice Mika is not overjoyed at the prospect of shooting that 7 up the table. Few pool players are. It's not frozen. So it can be made. He's going to take something else.
The 3. He's going to back cut the 3.
He's going to back cut the 3 ball. And there it goes. He didn't notice. He didn't have to hit it very hard. That's one of the advantages of new cloth and polished balls.
6 ball looks like it goes.
Yeah.
Might even be able to manufacture a break shot out of the 8 ball.
Right.
See how he's really looking at this 8 ball. He wants this 8 ball.
If he can play the 8 ball, 8 and 9 combination, the 8 will slide over into break shot territory. I don't know if that makes it the right shot now. He played wiggled the 9 on the side, and it does not still have a legitimate break shot to show for it. So John Schmidt comes to the table underneath all the balls, and he's going to have to manufacture something for a break shot if he gets these next 11. Score is 44-1 at the moment. I wouldn't worry too much about score. These players can tack on 50, 60 points effortlessly. He's going to start with the 5.
Good look at the bottom of John Schmidt's playing shoes there.
Yeah, well, we'll take whatever we can get. Notice that John will have to manufacture something here. Balls are open, but there's still work to be done. A little too hard. Didn't get that 10 quite out of the racking area. comes our first equipment change. Cue extender for John. I've known guys who played their whole games with one of these. In fact, I think Strickland experimented with it too.
Yeah, right now he has a 70-inch cue that he plays with.
Yeah, well, 70 inches. I think the thing weighs about 3 pounds. Looks like it was borrowed from Yao Ming of the NBA. All right, well, John will go 1-7, and then that stripe in the side for his cue ball, which means that break shot lies just outside the racking area. That's what he's going to do. And a ball that close to the racking area is not necessarily the greatest of break shots because the object ball absorbs most of the cue ball's speed initially, and then you've got the stack right behind that. So he's going to have to power this shot. Both these men defy the stereotype of what a player should look like or be. They both look like candidates for the JC's 10 Outstanding Young Men Award. Both full-time pool players, and this tournament does include America's 2 best working stiff players, if that's a title. Dave Dye of New York owns an auto parts business, still goes to work every day. He's close to 70 years old. And Jonathan Smith, a freelance photographer who's worked for my magazine, and I suppose yours too, plays almost daily. Players are polishing the cue ball here, then mark the spot with a cube of chalk. Again, that would normally be the referee's job. So we've got 4 racks played, 44-12 in favor of Mika. And we'll see what John wants to do with this. I think the cue ball will probably go to the right side rail and back out towards the center of the table here. But he's going to have to hit it hard that close to the stack. Well, since he didn't bother to make the ball, we don't have to worry about what he got. Actually, I think he decelerated his stroke that time, and that points to a lot of misses when you do that.
No, I think I think he was trying to do a little bit with the cue ball there and not get stuck in the rack.
Well, obviously you don't want to be stuck in the rack, but you're going to have to do more with the cue ball than that when the object ball is that close, because the cue ball does not transmit that much kinetic energy to the stack after it's taken on an object ball that was a 1/4 inch away. In an unrefereed match like this, fouls are largely a matter of the honor system. And Mika had a row last year with Mike Siegel over that. And Siegel refused to call a foul on himself, which just about everybody, including the replays, thought was a push. So he got his revenge the best way. The next game they played, he broke, Mike missed, and he ran 150 and out. And that's one way of proving your point.
That gets your point.
Yeah, I take your drift.
Now, if he can see that 13 ball through the stack.
Looks like he can, but it doesn't break up the 4 balls above it.
He may be able, he may be looking at saving the 1, but the 1 will let him do a little bit too.
Yeah, I think he'll use the 1 to break up the 3 clustered balls to its left. Hurry up.
And for those of you just tuning in, we're watching John Schmidt versus Mika Immonen. This is the first round in the final 32. We started out with 64 players, 8 groups of 8. They played a round robin. And the top 32 finishers, 4 from each bracket, came into the final 32.
Now, when you come into the second round of a tournament like this, you've already proved that you can play some pool. I mean, there were sponsors and non-players in it to see how they do and have some fun, but generally speaking, if you clear round-robin play, you have proven yourself.
I think 3 or 4 guys ended up being 7-0. We do have the seeds. We have the brackets. They're already posted at InsidePool.tv.
I believe one player was sent home with a record of 5-2, which is a shame. But ball count does matter here, and it's pretty well the luck of the draw.
Meanwhile, there were 4 and 3 players that made it in.
Yeah, that's right. And my Chicago buddy Tom Garabatsis was one of them. He's playing Rodney Morris right now.
Rodney was one of the 7-0 guys.
Another 9-ball player who's adjusted to straight pool. Mika doesn't really have a terribly good break shot here. The 8-ball's kind of low and the 11-ball's kind of high. But either one would do in a pinch. If he were another ball width to the right of where he is now, he could slide the 8-ball up a little bit. He may try to bump it here. Or the 9. Ah, he got the 2 out. Secondarily, that was a clever move there. I think he probably preferred the 2 to the 11 for his break shot, but we'll see. The 11's coming off now. You do not want to leave yourself 2 break shots, generally speaking, in straight pool, because one rarely leads you well to the other one. It's going to be the 1 ball here, and he'll use the 5 for a key ball. Go back far enough to play position for it in the side. Many would have settled for it up table in the corner. Ideally played.
And he's going to pick up all 14 of those balls.
Thanks to a very uncharacteristic break shot attempt by John Schmidt. I was looking for him to drill that shot, and he babied it and didn't get clear, and didn't make the ball either. I think he was probably too worried about the cue ball consequences.
I believe you're right. And I believe he did decelerate through that stroke. He was tentative.
Any game played where you hit a ball with something, you're taught to accelerate through the ball. If you decelerate, that's when you choke off and bad things happen.
Normally they do.
Yeah. Mika's break shot took on the 2 top balls. You always want your break ball to contact one of the 4 corner balls.
If he goes into the stack, this could get dangerous.
Well, he wanted to, but he missed it. He's probably lucky that he missed it.
That was going to carry him down into the corner pocket.
Or the side.
At the side.
Or
Yeah,
the
either
other
way,
side.
he might have been down in purgatory trying to make a 9-foot shot on this 11 ball. If it was even available.
That was nicely played. That's a typical Siegel shot there with the 2-rail spin.
Sure. Come out.
Avoided the 2 ball. So you see, the shot illustrates the danger of running into balls. If he had even ticked that 2 ball slightly, he wouldn't have come anywhere near the center of the table. And now he has a nice secondary break shot, and he can go on. Look for him to use draw here. That's exactly what he did. Try and stay above the balls if any way you can. And he's planning how to get at those 6 clustered balls in the center. And again, you'd like to do that as early in the sequence as feasible. Excuse me.
Yeah, he's basically right now, I don't think he's trying to play the 9.
Oh, no.
He's
He'll
trying to
either
get
play
on
that ball on the side or he'll play this combination underneath the cluster.
Right. I think he's looking at either The
or
five.
maybe the 5 and come up into the cluster, because now there are insurance balls for that. High right English. Hope you don't hit the 12 coming off the bottom rail. That's going to be the 5. Played the subtle way. Eliminate the combination. Leave this ball. You may have to baby this to save position on the stripe just above it. That's what he'd like to use to break the cluster. He doesn't want to take the 9 off the table. Looking to see if he can get the 7 past the 9. Not sure if he can or not.
I don't think that goes past the 9.
In the background there, Dennis Walsh, another generous sponsor of the tournament, with his arms folded, sitting next to Jeff Mole, another Chicago buddy of mine, qualified for this tournament in Chicago. He's going to use the 9. He'd rather not, but he's going to. He didn't even use it to break up the balls. He's going to try and save the 12 for that. So it'll be a manufactured break shot. Sometimes it works against you to select your break shot too early in your sequence.
I agree. You get married to a certain break shot.
And you play yourself right out of your correct sequence. Okay, now that shot worked for him only because of the inside draw he used. Right hand in this case.
Right.
Otherwise he would not have achieved the center of the table. He still has some work to do to find a break shot out of this. That ball over by the right side rail is last ditch. He could use the 8 to bump out that middle stripe if he wanted to go that far.
I kind of like that shot the best.
He has to get over on the right side of the 8 ball first. Well, he's going to use that stripe on top to do that. And then if he makes the 8 and manufactures the break shot as planned, he'll have the 6 for a key ball. It's really not much of a key ball. I can't tell if he has the 2 or 3 degrees on the 8 that he needs or not. It looks like he does.
He needs to hit his little draw.
There it is.
That's nice.
That's nice. Again, this is not an ideal key shot. You generally like the key shot to be in the lower half of the table. And he has to drill it to get the cue ball off the rail and center table. But, of course, again, new cloth, polished balls. He doesn't have to really drive it that hard. No more than firm speed. Just right.
And Mika's going to pick up all 14.
All 14 again. 58-12 to play this break shot with right-hand draw. We'll break out optimally 6 or 7 balls and get the cue ball back to the center. The players are going to massage the cue ball again.
Now, do you do that when you play?
Never. where I play, the balls are filthy when you get them and filthy when you quit.
So we won't ask the name of the room then.
I'm probably going to leave it at that. I shouldn't say filthy. The room where I play does a pretty good job, but they can't replicate tournament conditions with brand new cloth and polished balls every time. Mosconi used to come in with a cue case that contained his own set of highly polished balls, and he wouldn't play with anything else.
Well, shows that he knew a little bit about the game.
Yeah. He knew more than a little.
You think?
But he made it as easy for himself as he possibly could, especially when it came to choosing opponents for exhibitions. He didn't want anybody who could run more than 40 or 50 balls. And he probably would, well, he'd give his opponents 2 or 3 chances at the table so they didn't get humiliated, but players playing against him, for the most part, were spooked and couldn't play their normal games. I did see him lose an exhibition match once to a Chicago player, a Native American that everybody called Youngblood. He's one of the 2 best players the city has ever produced. And Mosconi was giving all challengers 50 points going to 150 at the time, but still, how many players ever get 100 points off Mosconi or run 55 balls on him, as Youngblood did. He was gracious in defeat, but he didn't like it. He hated to lose.
Do you blame him?
No. But, it's exhibition play. There's nothing on it. And
did he get around? Did he get around it? He sure did.
He did, and it looks like he can see the 11. That was a high-risk break shot he took there. Coming off the bottom rail, like W.C. Fields used to say, the highways are fraught with marauders. Yes. Yeah. Nice two-rail bank shot that time. Most of these players are not particularly comfortable shooting up table. When two good straight pool players play, 85-90% of the scoring will be done in the two bottom pockets. But Mosconi, more than any of his peers, turned around and shot balls up table. And we all know what happened when Mosconi played his peers. Not that he really had any peers.
I was just going to say, wasn't he peerless?
For the most part, yes. And it was that white-hot hatred of losing that drove him.
I believe you're right.
He didn't even particularly care for the game except as a way to make a very nice living. And one of his more memorable quotes was, "I would no sooner play pool in my spare time than a head waiter would wait tables on his day off." It's not the most respectful stance he could take, considering what the game did for him. He was 10th grade educated, and he made a fine living working for Brunswick, plus the championship monies he won. And he acknowledged that it was a good way for him to make a living, but that was all the game ever was to him. It's too bad. I'm sure he doesn't know what he missed.
Beautiful game.
It sure is.
How many years do you have in the game, George?
Oh, if I must confess to this, I began in November of 1953. I was a high school junior. I'd just been cut from the basketball team, and I needed a place to go. And here was another way of maneuvering for an open shot, except that you didn't have to depend on the kindness of strangers under the backboard to get another one. That last shot up in this upper right-hand corner here is an example of Mika's fearless shot making. He shot that like it was dead. And this three-ball cluster that he's looking at now still needs a divorce.
Sure does.
He can use the lowest ball to do that. But again, he has one ball up at the top of the table where you don't particularly want it this late in the sequence.
I think he's actually looking to see if he can pocket the 2 and move the 5, but I don't think that's going to happen. I think he's just going to go ahead.
He'll probably soft roll the 10 or the stripe in here, whichever one it is, and use the 6. Probably shoot the 6 ball next. It looks like the 8 ball is going to be saved.
6 is going to be the next ball after this.
No, he's going up table. He fooled us. Fooled us, and now he has a nice little triangle down here, although he's about to eliminate it with the 5. He doesn't have as good a shot on that up table ball as he'd like. This illustrates the pitfall of leaving a ball up table too late in the sequence. He's going to have to shoot it now. Not that he can't make it, but the angle, it's a thin angle, and he has to control the cue ball. He probably wants the 5 ball next. Then have to hit this with a little bit of reverse. And again, able to soft roll it in. So you can play the 5 and then the 6 on the side. 4 ball again, or if that's the 2, just barely clears the rack.
Just barely.
Okay.
And once again, the math is very easy.
14 more for Mika Immonen. Has to be considered one of the favorites to win this tournament. Last year he had a Novak Djokovic type year where he won almost everything in sight. And he's runner-up twice in this tournament. It's the one title he hasn't won. Mika used follow there, and that surprises me. The cue ball will have a flirtation with a corner pocket when you contact the lower balls. But he controlled the speed well enough that it worked out. I was looking for him to draw back to center table.
Yeah, I was a little bit surprised about that myself. Especially at the low speed.
Yeah. Well, the low speed is what kept the cue ball out of the pocket.
Well, I kept it out, but
I thought
generally,
if you hit him that low, you're usually looking for another ball below the rack for your next shot, and he had a ball to go up table with. So.
Exactly. 10 ball, 7 ball.
10 or 7.
Now, is that 3 dead?
It looks like it could be made. It can be thrown into the pocket. Again, third ball removed. That middle stripe of the 3 looks like it might throw the 3. I don't think Mika's really looked at it yet. He's probably going to look for open object balls to re-break with. If he can get to the 6 here, he might use that. Hurry up.
Here we go.
Yeah, that's what he's going to do. It's a little thinner than he would have liked.
Well, maybe the 1 will keep him from going up table if he doesn't hit so much of the 13. Yeah, he's seeing it. It's going to go for a ride here. There you go.
Nicely played. Killed the cue ball off the rail expertly.
Well, he missed that 13.
Yeah, yes, he did. And now
that was the big thing.
12 balls of fair break shot. There's a good point to point out. When you have more than 2 balls facing the same pocket, take the middle balls first. And he just brushed that 12 over. See how subtle this game is? He moved it maybe half a ball with all the difference between a dead ball and a break shot.
Exactly. Now he's looking at trying to remove the 13 in this, and he doesn't want it to be his key ball, but it may end up being his key ball.
Unless he wants to play the 5 now. Not likely that he will. He's going to get the 5 off right now after this. And the 1 ball will be his key. If you're going to save a ball in the side pocket for a key ball, you want it close to the side ball like he has here. Balls in the middle of the table look attractive, but so does ace, king, and hold'em. And when you play position for a key ball in the middle of the table, you have to fall precisely on it. If you're off by as much as a ball width, your entire break shot strategy is at risk. He went 3 rails here with that shot. He could have gone 1 or none, and he's just right now. 14 more, 86 to 12 for Mika Immonen.
It's 100 to 12.
Oh, it's 100 to 12 now. Very nice run here. Hardly been in trouble at all.
Oh, he's midway.
Yeah, we're halfway there, and feels like the match just started. That's how effortless this run has been.
See a nice line of all the sponsors there.
Yeah, I was just going to say that very thing. All our sponsors on display. Okay, that's not an atypical result of that particular break shot. He hit the cue ball a little lower than he should have. That's why he's so far up table. And although he has an open shot here on the right side rail, this is not what you want to be looking at after you've just broken the balls. There's a lot of work to be done here. If he can get on the 2, he can start opening up the stack right from the start. And now he's going to have to play something in the side. But that's okay.
Yeah.
If it's too straight, he can use draw.
Well, he's in trouble.
Yeah, this is what the first real stymie he's faced. I think he can back cut this ball nearest us down here.
He could cut this in the lower
He can cut it in either direction. I think that's going to go to the right here.
Oh, look at this. He overcut it.
Well, yeah, but he took 2 practice strokes and flew out of his shooting stance. That was an awful shot. The good news is he jumps fairly well for a white man. He took 2 practice strokes and flew out of his shooting stance. The shot clearly intimidated him, and he was disappointed he didn't have a better one.
I thought he was just taking a warm-up stroke there.
Yeah,
He knew, I'm going to see how this feels. I didn't expect the cue ball to fly out.
He hit that like he was double parked. No, I just undercalled his score by 14 points, and JR corrected me, so I think it is 100-12 coming in.
Right now it's 100.
At least that's what we've got it at. If they don't,
well,
I hope they have it right out there. But in here, we know it's 100-12.
yeah.
Somebody's suggesting that they may not have kept score accurately out there. It looks like he's only marked up 88. The numbers are
He
higher.
sure has. Now, when in doubt, what the player says is what we have to mark. So we're going to wait to see what these guys say.
Johnny Archer taking a look at us.
But I do believe. Look at this. What was that?
Looked like a concession shot.
He one-handed it while he was standing up. What is going on?
I'm at a loss to explain that one. Did he have? He had shots, didn't he? He wasn't left safe or anything.
He was a little weird.
Look, I can't tell.
A little strange, but I have no idea what's going on.
This can be tough for us to explain to our viewers. We don't understand it either. We may have a forfeit. I see some grins in the first row.
I think the first row might know more.
It'd be impossible for them to know less. This one mystifies me. I understand why Mika did what he did. I don't understand the response to it in the least.
Well, it looked like John was off to the races, and I think he ran into a problem, and he slapped the ball.
It's very uncharacteristic of him. It really is. He's normally very calm demeanor at the table. I really can't explain this one. At the moment we have no players and no cues at the table. We have is 9 balls and a cue ball on the table. No players. I think.
And a messed up score.
Yeah, and a messed up score. It's not exactly the showcase we had hoped to bring you, folks. But a lot of this is not our fault.
No, it was our fault.
I think we may have a forfeit here.
I don't know what's going on.
It could be, if the game were refereed, that would have been a sportsmanship foul.
Let's see if our PA Melissa has any news for us. What happened?
I don't know. The canoe chalk is all over all the balls, and it's hurting his stroke, I guess. I don't know. He's frustrated.
Well, we have one explanation that there's chalk on the object balls. And there's no question that. There's no question that chalk marks on the object balls will make a ball skid. That's one of the oldest hustler's tricks in the book.
We're getting some feedback from the crowd here, and sounds like there was some problem with the chalk.
Chalk dust is getting on the object balls, and that will cause the balls to skid. It increases friction between the object ball and the cue ball. That's why they were polishing the cue ball so incessantly, and if that's what annoyed him to the extent that he did what he just did, evidently this match is over.
Well, do you think it's I don't think it's the Kamui chalk. I just think that it's, any chalk. Because I saw that if you look, that's master chalk out there.
Quality chalk does not crumble onto the object balls. It doesn't even happen in my pool room at home. There's really no excuse for it. Well, if he objects to the Kamui chalk, then he should have brought his own. I got a lifetime supply in my case. Largely stolen from the pool rooms in which I play.
Well, I guess what we need to do is figure out whether there's a forfeit and whether we need to fix the score and where that's going to go too.
Well, we have no players at the table, so it certainly looks like a forfeit match.
Maybe we can get Dennis Walsh to
Dennis is going to try and get us the scoop, but that seems to be the player, at least John Schmidt's beef, is that there's chalk on the object balls, there's skidding on them, and those are not acceptable conditions to him. personally, I think whatever the playing condition disadvantages, they're equal for both players. I think you ought to, at this level of play, you ought to suck it up and do the best you can.
That's exactly what I was going to input here. Is no matter what it is, if we're shooting him into sewer grates, it's the same for both guys.
It's the same advantage or disadvantage to both.
And there's $20,000 up top.
If you think
the guy who figures out how to do it the best.
If you think the balls are going to stick, you cut them a little thinner.
And but seriously, it's the same for both guys.
There's no question.
Nobody
about
ever
that.
said that pool was going to be the same as it is in your basement.
No.
No matter where you go in the world.
The conditions didn't stop Mika from getting 7 racks ahead, even though the score only credits him with 6. But I frankly don't know if this match will continue. I'll see what I can find out.
We're going to de-mic here for a second and figure out what we're doing, folks. Looks like it. Mika is back to the table, and he has adjusted his score. So, looks like he has his score correct. And believe it or not, I even think that he's put the 3 balls that he had already made. So we're going to match that up. Just to put it at...
All right, well, we're back at the table with one angry competitor and one calm one.
The one thing that he hasn't done was give John credit, because I think John made a ball and got bad position.
I think John's mental state at the moment exceeds the fate of one ball. They'll get it corrected eventually. The correct score at the beginning of this match is only one ball.
Well, I believe it's actually 17.
He's got 17 there.
I think he has 17. My math is probably a little wrong right now, a little confused.
He really didn't do anything
Okay.
to the table, so it's not actually a forfeit.
Mm-hmm.
You just got aggravated because of a missed shot.
So it had nothing to do with chalk, just a missed ball.
Yeah, the ball skidded.
One ball
Okay.
skidded on it because there was chalk.
Yeah, that's what he's saying. He's saying Kamui chalk was on the ball.
It sure sounds like splitting hairs to me. Chalk is chalk.
Yeah.
And it's not really chalk. It's a silicate. It wouldn't do you much good on a blackboard, but it's pool chalk. And it's hard for me to believe that one make performs that differently from another.
Well, Mika, I guess he's going to use the 7 as his key ball here, which is not a bad key ball.
No, I think the ball farther away from the break shot is.
Oh no, look at this. Look at this.
He'll be all right. He doesn't have the angle he ideally like, but he's got enough to break the balls.
You're going to tickle. Okay, now I believe that John got 5 balls out of that rack, and Mika should have 7 more. So let's,
Five, and the score should be 109 to 17.
being that the players are we're going to use their score. Let's see what they come up with here.
Creative accounting here in the pool table. Usually reserved for Hollywood.
Now there's a question here, and I figured that this was going to come up after that long break. I don't think John even cares about the score.
No, I'm sure he doesn't.
So we're going to end up with 113, and we're going to match the score.
113 to 13. that's a pitfall of leaving a break ball too close to the rack. Unless you hit it with a sledgehammer, you're not going to get the cue ball before the magic ball's open. This looks like it's going to be a foul. One off for Mika Immonen. He has the first foul. See if John can get his head back into the game. Easier said than done. Doesn't look like it.
No.
Took a rotation shot there. I don't know what that was.
That was, he hit that with a lot of give up.
I don't think he even called it. There wasn't anything. I don't like to see this at this level. But we can almost certainly get all these. There's a video around of Ralph Greenlee doing the exact same thing.
Really?
Yeah, he took a combination shot just like the one John just shot. He didn't appear to care what the answer was. Of course, Greenlee's behavior can be explained a lot more easily than John Schmidt's.
I guess so.
These two balls here are an easy combination shot. That's the last remaining problem. You don't like to see four balls on the same side rail. The last two balls, you believe you're almost simply be 5 and 6. Which means you may leave the third for last in front of the 5.
He nudged that 6 in a little bit better.
Improve the 6 slightly. It's a little lower than most players would like, but it's at least he moved it up appreciable. He's not with reverse English too. Those of you who are studying this game need to learn what a valuable ally inside English can be. Most players don't like to use it. That's English on the same side as the direction of the cut shot. And again, in all forms of pool, you don't want to spin the cue ball unless you want to alter its angle of rebound off the rail. You like to stay in the center of the concept. Just ran into that strike post. We're off the air for a second. Now we're all right. Mika ran into that 13 unnecessarily, and that caused him to rethink his problem, his route. The 5 ball come off now. All right, modest draw on the stripe up in the corner, and he'll have a key ball in the side. Okay, and once again, Mika has left himself with the object ball nearer the side rail than the cue ball, and that generally dictates draw. If the cue ball is nearer than the rail than the object ball, that generally dictates follow.
And once again, the addition is going to be fairly easy here.
John Schmidt is not himself right now. It shows in his facial expression, his body language, as well as his conduct at the table.
It's uncharacteristic.
Yeah, Mika's going to have to make a mistake here for John to get back into this, to get his head back into this. Mika used draw on that. That's what stopped the cue ball after contact. Looks like the rewards are fairly meager except for the 11, but sometimes one is all you really need to keep going.
That's all you need.
I'm surprised to see him do that. He drilled the ball and drew back 2 rails for position. I think he should have just gone to the center of the table with follow. But we'll see if that can spark something out of John Schmidt. I'd like to see him play his game here. He's going to reassemble his package, put on his playing glove. Nope, there goes the glove. I don't know why he wouldn't go for that up-table ball first. I really don't. There's going to be a mental struggle for John as well as what he's confronted with because of the ball's behavior. I hope that cue ball doesn't freeze. Well, he's got the 5. All right, come on, John. Let's see a match.
I think he needs to start getting a little therapy and running some balls.
I was just going to say, he needs to run a rack of balls and get a break shot and get back into the feel of the game. Everybody who follows pool in the least way knows John Schmidt can run balls. I have a whole anthology of DVDs at home with John Schmidt running balls. 294, 168, that goes on and on and on and on. But playing alone is very different from playing in the arena with an opponent.
Sure is.
But once you get into your groove and you settle in at the table, there is no opponent except for the balls, and that's what we'd like to see John Schmidt trying to accomplish here. Get past being pissed off. You can't do anything about what happened before anyway. Let's make it a match. Again, I do not understand why he's leaving that up-table ball on the table this long.
Those 3 balls there, he has to do something with them now.
Well, the stripe is already a break shot. He needs to get to the ball below it or eliminate the stripe.
He looks like he's going into them right now.
You only have to move one of the 3. That's good. That's if you can see the 7, that's okay.
I think, as predicted, all he needed to do was run a rack. He still hasn't done it yet.
He's running a rack that somebody else broke. I think he needs to hit a break shot or 2 to help him get the feel of the balls back. It's very important to feel the ball in this game. Winning tennis players invariably report after a match, I was really feeling the ball well today, and it's the same way with pool. In pool, you have the advantage that every shot is a sweet spot hit, but you must feel the ball if you want to play your best pool. Feel how the cue ball feels against the tip of your cue, and develop a sense of feel for the collision of the cue ball and object ball, even though it's remote from you. A head-on shot feels differently than a thin cut, etc., and John needs to recapture that. Got a good break shot here to work with.
I was curious to see what they're going to do with the score, and I wanted to also see whether John was going to clean that cue ball.
Yeah.
Now,
if there were a referee, John would undoubtedly have called for a cleaning of all the balls by now. That's more like a typical John Schmidt break shot. Most straight pool players would not be drawing the ball up to the head rail and out again. The Europeans like to do it, and it's facilitated with new cloth, but generally speaking, the game is played more subtly than that. John looks like he's beginning to relax and pocket a few shots here. He hopes so. He didn't need to do that. That's the 8 ball. It was dead up in the upper left-hand corner. He didn't need to move it at all. He's got a combination shot here, I think. Or maybe he can see the 10 straight away.
I think he's shooting the combo.
Okay. You got to remember, when you shoot a combination shot, the first ball you contact is the ball most likely to stymie you. And for obvious reasons, you're not thinking about it. You're thinking about the ball you're pocketing. But you've got to get away from that first ball you touch. He'd like to shoot this ball now. He's looking to see if he can get it past the one. Nice little pinch.
Nicely done.
Very generous rail, a very generous pocket jaw contribution. Maybe a ball width farther than he would have liked.
He may hit this 7 ball, carry him into the
I think he's going to hit the stripe closest to the cue ball. No, you were right.
That's what he wanted to do.
Right. Yeah, that worked out well. He takes this ball off the table. The 13 is out there for his break ball, and he's all set. John can get back into this if he continues to play in this at this pace and forget about what happened before.
John could literally shut Mika out. Mika might have had his last trip to the table. We don't know that yet.
And we don't, but it's conceivable. He's certainly run that many before.
Sure. He now has a purpose.
Yeah. But the fact that he's broken the balls and got them open and done the work, that's the kind of thing you need to loosen you up.
Right. Right. He killed his own food, so to speak.
Pretty much.
He's a little funky here, but he'll be able to survive.
You played it as a stop shot. Okay. In a break shot like this, drawing the cue ball back to the center of the table. Looking at our next matches here. It won't be easy, but we'll try.
I do believe we want Martin Everly.
I think for sure we want to show our audience Ray Martin in action.
And Mr. John Lee. I think the folks at home want to see Ray Martin. Wouldn't you say so, George?
Oh, I don't think there's any question about that. He's the marquee star here, and inducted him into yet another Hall of Fame last night. And everybody's excited that Ray's here. It's his first tournament appearance in nearly 20 years. Oh, look what oh, my goodness. John just got a real sweet roll. Let's hope that improves his spirits. That's the kind of shot that always seems to go to your opponent. You never seem to get the benefit of those balls that decide to fall against their better judgment. The rule on that, if you're curious, is that if the ball has stopped all motion and then falls, it comes back up, but that ball was still had a breath of life before it finally fell.
It just made a decision.
Yeah.
I'm going to go.
Yeah. Like I say, it's the kind of decision that seems to go the other guy's way most of the time.
That's what they do to me.
Yeah. And then they claim, well, it's my sense of ball speed that, you won't pay proper tribute, but that shot was actually genius.
Well, he may use the 3 here to kind of
nudge those
balls.
Those 4 balls apart. The ball to the right of the 3 will probably be his break shot into the next frame, unless he gets something he likes out of this. Okay, now just rolling the ball softly through a cluster like that doesn't always work out this sweetly. If the 6 goes by that stripe, he's all right. Generally speaking, you want to be above the balls and not underneath them. Okay. 2 balls on the side rail here to our right. He'll take care of that probably right now. Yeah, there goes
nudge it up by the
there
side.
goes 1. That's what you want to do. Next thing you'll probably see is that John will pick up his playing pace as this run continues to build.
And I think John's going to remind Mika that this is a race to 200.
You know, I think Mika's aware of that. Okay. Two-rail position for the brake shot. It'd be interesting to see what he does with this, whether he steamrolls it or tries to play it under control. The way to play it under control would be to draw it into the two top head balls. I think you may see John try and go through the rack here, though.
Let's see where he's going to hit. He's going to naturally hit right on the top of the 14.
He went into the side of the stack, and when that happens, you need a little extra speed because you're taking on, it's basic physics, you're taking on the mass of the stack.
You're taking on the whole stack.
You know, that weighs 14 times what the cue ball does, and you need some energy to get it out of there. He's lucky that ball went up table.
Yeah, he really needed to land base that one.
You do not want to take on the interior balls with a brake shot unless absolutely necessary.
Right.
You want to catch one of the four corner balls is what you're looking for.
Sure.
Looks like he may have a dead shot here in the corner pocket to our right, the 8 and the stripe next to it.
And he may use that
He may use that to open up the 6 balls, the 7 balls above it.
He's looking to see if he can get below it and cut the 8, or what he has to do.
He may open them up here.
Yeah, I was just going to say, come in between the 7 and 11.
He didn't do that.
He didn't do that.
But he got away with what he did. The other aspect of pattern position play that I'd like to point out to our audience is, besides insurance balls, you generally want to try and identify the 4 balls nearest the 4 corner pockets and see if you can find a way to connect those. There will always be balls you can identify that way, and as you continue to do that, it's called playing from the outside in. Your cue ball, in effect, circles the racking area and winds up with the last few balls very close or just outside, very close to or just outside the racking area, and that's how you plan your brake shot strategies.
I always approach the rack as identifying the balls that are problem balls. And then I looked at the other balls as my solution balls.
Yeah, you want to go after trouble early.
And you have to identify it as soon as it happens,
right,
or as soon as you possibly can.
Okay, and John will use the 11 to move the 14 out into brake shot territory, and that should be the last problem he faces here.
Yeah, I believe he can pocket the 8.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure he can. I don't know. I don't think the 7 goes by it. But he'll play the 3, come out for the 7, and leave the 8 and the 11 for last.
Sure.
Came up about 3 ball widths short of where he'd like to be. It's no real problem, though.
He's figuring out the spin here.
Well, what he'd like to do is play the 8 and 11 without the cue ball running into the second ball. And he doesn't, well, he's going to take the combination now. And this time he went farther than he wanted to. But he's still in this, though. I mean, he's getting his head back into the game. That's inside follow. Okay, inside English working to his advantage again. Two-rail position here. Just right.
Just got it by. This is
he knows he just barely got away with that too. But two-rail position is the route of choice for most players. Notably Mike Siegel. Some purists claim don't go 2 if you can go 1. including me. And most players prefer to go to it. I think the cue ball route is more predictable that way. So, John Schmidt is a little more than 4 racks in arrears here, but he has a good break shot, and looks like he's fighting the good fight to regain his form. Now this ball will contact the lower corner ball, which is fine. It's the lower ball. Oh boy.
Does the 13 get out there?
Yeah, this is what Dan DiLiberto refers to as position while you wait. An object ball rolls somewhere favorable when the cue ball has been killed. It's the fickleness of straight pull. One ball roll coming out on a break shot like that just turns the entire rack around.
Now the 7 goes by the 15 once he clears this 11 out.
Yes, it does, but in order to get to the 7, he has to do something with the 3 ball and the 5 ball just above it.
I think he'll run on the other side.
He may play them as a combination.
Sure.
The 7 ball definitely goes in the lower right-hand corner.
He can get to the 3-5 right now, 3-4.
Is that what it is? I keep
Yeah.
forgetting that the 4 ball has gone pink. I'm old school. It was purple when I started to play. That's the only color I really endorse.
Well, I believe Aramith is one of the sponsors, and
Yeah, well, then it's their call, but I believe pink is a nice color for underpants. They use it in snooker.
they do use
The
it.
pink ball. I'm all for returning to Moby Grape. Reverse English there too.
I don't think he got there for the 7.
No, he's going to get there off the striped ball on the rail to our right.
Yeah.
2-rail bank. Hit the center, John. Come on. I believe he's gonna take all these balls off without touching a second object ball here. At least he should.
He should.
Hurry, 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 albino fool. All right.
And you always take the 15 here. Nice.
Yeah, that was all right. I guess it looks like he has to. This reverse draw. It comes straight back up the center of the table here. It's just a punch. Just like that. You have to use a little left to do that. If he had used right, he would be way wider of the shot.
Sure.
All right, John's starting to play John Schmidt pool here. And the deficit comes down to 45.
He's making my job easy here, keeping score.
Yeah, it's nice of them to do that. These players to take 14 balls apiece each time they come to the table. No worries.
Wanted to take a second and thank everybody out on the pay-per-view stream here, supporting this tournament, supporting the live stream.
Indeed, thank you very much.
We appreciate it very much. Thank you very much.
The job wouldn't be any fun if you weren't here. And that brings up that this tournament has been denied sanction by the World Pool Association, so we're going to have a champion with no recognition. It's kind of like that tree in the forest. But what we have left is a very, very good tournament with a good prize fund and an excellent field. Whether or not the winner is truly a world champion is going to lie in the eyes of the beholder. Not sure why they withheld sanction. I think it has to do with the prize fund. Looking at John's cue extension now.
He has a nice cue extension there, doesn't he?
Most of these players have that brush in their palette. Very few are able to turn around and shoot left-handed. Off to the right of our picture, you can see Tony Robles there. It's probably one of the best-liked players on the planet. He's like Sarah Lee. Nobody doesn't like him. Everybody adores the guy, and with good reason, too. He's really a terrific guy, besides his ability to find sponsors. Now, 13 and 5 ball need a divorce over here unless he plans to shoot them up table. He may tickle them right now. Nope. He'll use the 7 to break up the 5 and 13, it looks like.
I actually think he might use the 11.
That's possible, too.
I think that's his best ball.
That gives him the 7. Well, he's going to use the 10 or the 12, whichever it is.
He's saying I can make this 5 without doing anything.
Well, that's what he was looking at, yeah, and that would be the preferred choice, is to make the ball cleanly.
Looking to see what happens if he gets a better angle here.
His cue ball will probably be the 8. I think the 7's going to come off after the 5 here.
Nice to see a little smile from him.
Yes, very welcome. Now, not only does he have a very good smile, one of the best in pool, but it's good to see him getting back into the match.
I think he's just going to shoot the 13 next.
Yeah.
Looks like he's set up for the 7.
Yeah. Well,
the
11 balls is not a good key ball at all here. Not that it can't be done, but it's not a very good choice. I think he'd like to be to this side of either the 7 or 13 for a key ball.
I agree. And
I don't know if he can get there or not now, unless he plays a 7 ball first. He's going to go for the 13. This is how he's going to get on the other side of the 7. That makes sense. Now it looks like he's going to use the 7 for the break ball.
That's what it looks like now, doesn't it?
Yeah, and he does not have an ideal angle on this ball. He's going to have to use right hand follow to get down here. Hurry, hurry, hurry. Okay, now again, the cue ball object ball line is nearly parallel to the rail. Do you go 1 rail for position or 3? Most teachers would advise you to go 3 with high inside English. Not saying that's what he will do, but that's the way most teachers approach this. With the 3 rail position, the cue ball is going in an opposite direction from the object balls, and it's almost impossible to get tied up. On the other hand, it is more complex than going 1 rail with high outside English. It's very important that he contact the corner ball here and not the ball next to it. He went right into the center of that back row, and we'll see if he gets punished or not. It looks like he got away with it.
He's got shots.
Yes, he does.
He wants that shot right there, that 15 ball at the top of the stack, but I don't think that's
He doesn't have to do it now. And again, we remind our viewers that we do not recommend you send your cue ball into the interior of the stack the way John Schmidt just did. But this is new cloth and polished balls. There's all kinds of pitfalls to that otherwise.
I think he hit the second ball back. He just hit it on the side towards the end ball.
Well, he didn't get the end ball, and that's the basic target. The corner ball can act as the apex of a triangle, just like the head ball would if it were in place.
Is he going right after this combo next?
Probably. It should come off the table early. The reason you want to take rail balls off early in your sequence is you want the rails free for cue ball travel. And also, in case your secondary break shots send more balls toward the rail, you want them there alone instead of making more mini clusters. So he's going to re-break with the 3. Doesn't have to break these 6 balls to 7 different counties. All he has to do is separate them.
That was a nice separation.
Yes. Very nice. Got a real easy combination on the 8 ball, if nothing else. And there are other shots.
I think he'll go down and get the 5 next. Let's see.
Yeah.
The manufacturer a nice break
Manufacturer a nice break shot. Now he's got the 11-6 to deal with. If it's not dead, it looks like it might be makeable. He may be able to open the 2 balls now.
Go up to the center of the table here.
I wasn't looking for him to do this.
I didn't see anything if he was going to take that 5 next. I was going to let him slow roll it.
It seems to me he could have rolled to the center of the table and achieved the same thing.
Yeah, maybe.
Draw back slightly here for the 6 or 11. Too far.
He's going to get the 1 or the 15.
Or the 15.
I kind of like dealing with the 15 here. That way you can start to work those 3 balls on that side rail. That's
one of those balls has to come off the rail.
I see using the 13 to pluck away the top ball, that 11 ball, knock it towards the side pocket, and he has an insurance shot there with the 10.
It's preferable to drawing into him like it looks like he's doing here.
He's going in between them.
He went in between them. He's got just enough room to do what you said. That was a good call. So the 14 will be the break shot. You like to leave that ball by the side pocket, but no real harm done.
He just wanted to make sure he got distance. He didn't want to be jacked up there. He's going to come over for the 11. Nice shot.
You'd like to have maybe another inch off the rail to work with so you're not restricted to the top of the cue ball, but at this level of play, it's no problem for these players. Wow.
Whoa. Wiped its feet on the way in.
Yes,
there.
yes, indeed. Leave your shoes at the door. Again, this is not the tightest position play we could see, but remember, John Schmidt was weaned on 9-ball, and he plays straight pool like a 9-ball player would. And he's just about dead straight in on this ball. I mean, he might have a little bit of angle to work with. He's going to try and get the cue ball into the center of the table. It's a little straighter than he'd like. That's all right. Notice these players are favoring the conservative form of this break shot with the object ball nearer the side rail than the cue ball. So we got ourselves a match. He's 1 rack down.
Back to the races here. Only 17 points separates our 2 champions here. Let's take a look at this where it's going to hit. It looks like it's going to be
it's going to be the top balls for sure here.
Sure. Looks like he's drawing it. Just right.
It's modified draw. He's about halfway down between the center of the cue ball and the bottom edge.
He wanted some backspin, but not
some, but not enough to take him up to the head rail.
Nobody wants a 9-foot shot to start out there.
Yeah, you want to be in the center of the table just like this.
He's looking at this 13-6. That's a big.
Yeah, you only want 1 ball on the bottom rail. He may use the 13 to try and break up the 5-ball cluster above it.
Mm-hmm. And being that 11-10 is pretty much a dead combination.
Or the yellow ball, whether it's the 1 or 9, that's a possible insurance ball too.
Sure.
There it is.
There it is. Come up for the 4 ball.
I guess
Nudge the 2-7.
I think if he plays the 6 here, he's probably going to play position on the 5 or the 4 ball. Yeah, there we go again. Yeah, that's what he's going to do, and nudge the 2-7 for a
Right.
break shot.
We're on the same page.
Yeah, I just have to adjust to pink. It's my hang-ups doing this.
I'm
Okay,
old school. I like purple 4 ball.
Yeah, me too. Blue chalk,
And
blue cloth, green cloth, excuse me. I don't like Henry Ford. Any color for pool cloth is fine as long as that color is green.
now it looks like he's leaving the 7. 7's, even though it's on the left-handed side.
I think I'd rather see him leave the 15 and 9, use the 5 ball to get to the 15. Then he has the shot on the right side of the table for a right-handed player. And
Even though the 9's a little high, that 15's the best key ball out on the table right
because the 5 ball is there. It makes it easy to get to.
now. It's a natural.
Yeah.
John has passed the century mark here.
Yeah, we got ourselves a tie game and a very nice run here.
Well, he's passed 100 balls.
He's passed the medal barrier, more importantly, back into the game.
Yeah, like we said, therapy would come with ball making.
Yeah, and break shot manufacturing and all the nuances.
Eat what you kill.
That's right. Very nice run.
Very nice.
And we have in effect a tie game now.
Well, 3-point separation, I think, is where we're going to be landing here.
Well, we were at 100-12 at one point. John Schmidt has outscored Mika 112-15 since then. A nice break shot here, come off the top 2 balls.
Doink.
Well, it was a very polite little meeting between the cue ball and object ball there.
Sure was.
And barely shook hands.
Could have been a little bit less hospitable.
He's looking to see if he has the 1 ball. He's going to shoot up table. Morning.
Just had a gentleman poke his head in and inform us that John Schmidt was on 111 going into this rack.
Well, I think we can say he's back.
I guess I'll go out on the limb and say that.
He probably could have done without the histrionics. And he wouldn't have had to come back as far as he has. He can use this ball to break up that 4-ball cluster if he wants to. Make a break shot out of one of those 4. Most likely the 3. Or you can do it like this.
Is he going to
Draw
up?
Yeah,
and
draw
little
and
punch
save
area?
the 11. There we go.
Did it textbook there?
I think the ball for him to deal with is the ball nearest us. I think that ball needs to come off sooner rather than later.
I think so. Actually, I think he's going to go down off the 8, and he's going to get back up to the center.
Yeah, I think you're right. One of those balls at the center of the table will be a key ball.
And I don't mind going up on the 7 ball here next. I'll go around the 6 and just get into the middle of these balls.
My choice would be to go to the 8.
I think that's the 2 down there.
Well, yeah, there you go. It's solid. I'm willing to commit to that. In olden times, I would have confused it with the 4. Not anymore.
No.
All right, so he's going to come to this ball on the side rail and use that to get on the 13. Textbook is the way it goes. And these key balls in the middle of the table increase in value when you have a ball like the 10 or 12 that he's shooting here to land on them precisely.
And right now, Mika can't believe that he's actually down in this set.
Well, he's gone to an opponent who swiped the balls. He could have demanded a forfeit right there. These players, oh, gee.
Oh, look at this. And that ended his run.
That ended his run. He was looking for cue ball position on the break shot and forgot about the ball he had to sink. So it's a run of over 100 for John Schmidt, and now we'll see what Mika can do to get back into this. He's lost a huge lead, and he trails by 10 balls.
I'm a little surprised at that miss.
I'm sure he's delighted to be back at the table at any form. You don't look for a guy to miss a key ball.
No, you don't.
Well, Mika breaks the balls here. He's certainly capable of getting 70 more.
John can't believe it right now.
No, he can't believe he missed that last key ball. He forgot to watch it into the hole. It's like watching the ball come into your glove in baseball. Keep your eye on the ball. Good morning. I don't know why this just occurred to me, but you New Yorkers watching this match, if you happen to need eye surgery, I certainly recommend Dr. Michael Fedak. You practically owe it to him to go to him.
I believe you're right.
Very nice man. Took lessons from Tony Robles for a while, and Tony told him, you can't stay at home and hit balls. You have to get out and play somebody. So he joined the league at Amsterdam Billiards, and he's having a fine time. He's only been playing pool since 2003 or 4. He took it up as an adult, and obviously he loves what he's doing.
Obviously.
Mika has problems here. He can't see the 10. He has a cut shot on this ball nearest us, but it's a nightmare. He's looking for help from the stack. I don't think he's found anything. I'm not sure what he's playing here. The 9 ball? He called something, and he made the cue ball.
Yeah.
I don't know what that was. He looked like he shot it as though he had found something in the stack, but I don't know what it was. Nothing came near a pocket.
I don't understand that.
It was a mysterious confrontation this morning. As I explained, it may be the morning hour.
I found that if I ever wanted to play good in an 11 a.m. match, all I had to do was play slow and hope that my opponent couldn't make a ball. Then around 1:30, I'd start. If we were still in the same set, we'd win.
124th the run? That sounds right. If he began at 111, yeah.
Yeah. Well, he had 13 when he started out, and he ended with 127. So I think it would be 114.
And that would be the tournament's high run, except that records aren't being kept. Max Eberly here with us. Hi, Max.
Yeah. let me turn our score on here, is 137, so it's 124. 124 is the run.
So he's got, okay, he ran 124
He had
balls.
13 when he started.
And he's back at the table now. And again, John is capable of getting out from here if he stays in his groove. How'd you do, Max? Did you win?
I played.
Oh, you play Ray the next match. Yeah, we'll be here for that.
We had Max Everly coming by the booth. Mika's shrugging his shoulders because that ball there definitely was a 3-rail bank shot. Went off a couple of side rails there to get into the pocket.
Yeah, so that'll happen to the other guy. We want to commend Max for being that extremely rare commodity, a college graduate playing professional pool. Max is from James Madison. The only other athlete I can think of is Norwood, the guy who missed the field goal and famously wide right in the Super Bowl. He went to James Madison, too.
His father was my PE coach in high school.
Oh, is that right? Yeah. Norwood's father was Max's PE coach in high school. The world gets smaller as you look into it. 1 degree of separation.
Dwayne, he's taking care of these bottom rail balls, which is important.
You want to leave one of them there.
Down there.
No, you want to leave one of them until all the rest are open, but otherwise you want them gone.
Out of there.
For reasons we've already discussed.
Exactly.
Professional pool's other college graduate, as far as I know, well, the late Steve Mizrak, but Dick Lane, who doesn't play anymore.
Hey, wait.
You don't play anymore either. Yeah. Who you think you're kidding?
There's argument to say that I never played. So,
all right, there you have it. But we can certainly attest to your engineering degree. He just bumped that 11 ball up a little higher than he would have liked. He wanted to make it a break shot. Nick Varner attended Purdue for 4 years, but I've been reliably told he's 6 hours short of a degree. And
an important 6 hours.
Yes, yes. That fell victim to a room known affectionately as the Hole. It was Hubert Koch's hangout in a dirty little place in the basement someplace. I mean, he had the student union to play at Purdue, but he chose the Hole, and that's where he got his pool education.
The one that would actually probably define his life in the end.
Well, far more than his economics degree, which he doesn't have yet. Now, the distance between the 3 and 7 make it a tricky proposition for him to land precisely on the 7, which he has to do. Better to come up short than long in this case.
I believe so.
Straight in would be the ideal.
Look at Mika's gestures in the background.
Yeah, you can read a lot into their body language.
Well, you almost want to see that, but at the same time you don't, because you know it can jar the guy at the table if he feels.
Oh, sure.
You know.
Siegel does more damage to his opponents in the chair than probably any opponent in history. Okay. Wasn't a classic run, but 14 more balls on John Schmidt's score, and we remind our viewers that pool awards no style points. You can run a rack completely backwards, you still get 14 points on your score.
And if you scratch, you get one taken away.
That's right. Yeah.
As is in Mika's case.
The game is impartial in that regard. A ball down counts for a point. It doesn't matter if it was the right shot or not. Yeah, there's kind of chilly in the tournament room. I see a lot of folded arms at the table. But that's better for play, obviously. And one of our infrequent ball cleanings. These players are maintaining hospital conditions.
Sterilizing.
Yeah.
show these fine folks that score. Should be 150.
John just took a chance playing the break shot that way. But he hit it. He got enough force follow on it that the cue ball went straight to the bottom rail and not into the corner pocket. There's a nice two-rail bank.
You know, something that happened here is Mika did not take the ball off for his crash. And John was unable to get that ball. That explains the score discrepancy that we had.
Well, the score at the start of this rack should total one less than a total of how many racks they played. There's been one foul.
Well, Mika.
Was that the score at the start of this rack, 150 to 128?
Well, I had 151 to 127 because Mika scratched.
Okay.
And I had to take the ball off.
All right, and there was
should have been spotted.
And there was another foul in the game too, so the score should total 278 like it does.
Okay.
Okay, now there are two-ball clusters left, but you should notice that he doesn't really need to move either one of them. Those balls could be made cleanly if he chose to do so. The 5-ball, well, he may have to move them because he looks like he wants to save the 5.
Well, I think he's going to elect to
maybe play that combination and move the 5 over.
It certainly looks like it, but, you know, John, it's going to make us a liar.
I'm used to it by now. I kind of thought, having chosen that ball, he was going to go into those balls, but he elected not to. As I say, they can all 4 could be made cleanly without touching a second ball. He could make the 5 or the 4 here. Didn't have to bump that ball. It's a break shot. It's kind of low. It's either that or the 13 ball now.
I'm not a big fan of that 3 ball as a break shot. I don't even know whether it
three ball's way too low, I think. And if he wanted to use it as a below the rack break shot, it's too wide.
Yeah.
I think he probably has to save the striped ball just above it, and the only ball he can possibly contact then would be the corner ball in the rack, which is okay. Again, we see John leaving 2 balls up table longer than would be ideal. He's going after him now.
Good speed.
Yeah, it was.
How do you play this 11 in the side?
I think with the angle he got himself on the ball farthest from us, that's the easiest way to do it.
And just slide right down.
You know, generally speaking, in all forms of pool, when you have a choice between a corner and a side, the corner will be the better choice close to 85% of the time. But when you have natural position awaiting you, you don't have to play that according to that. All 6 pockets count.
As you said, no style points.
No.
I think this is not the optimum.
It's well removed from the optimum. You can hardly make this. Well, he's going to take off the break shot. I guess he's going to leave the 13 for his break.
Oh, this is going to get ugly.
No, there was no way he could make any ball there without running into a second ball, and that's one of the prime no-nos. He does have his opponent on a foul, I think, doesn't he? Or maybe not. No, he just missed. He missed that key ball.
He wants to hit this 13. I see hitting the 3.
He's going to take a foul.
Take a foul, huh?
Don't know why. Why would he do that? Didn't Mika just miss a key ball?
Yeah.
If your opponent's on a foul, I could see taking one, but still, it's an easy safety to play out of.
Sure.
I think I think he should fan the 13 from here. He doesn't have to lose a point, and he can leave his opponent just as safe. Well, all right. Mika will almost surely pocket nothing here. He doesn't even have a real good safety. He has to thin one of the 2 balls.
They're going to go ahead and adjust the score right now.
All right.
We'll take time to do the same. That way we have less work to do at the end of the rack.
Yeah.
These guys have been making it easy for us.
Yeah, and we won't have the spectacle of a player going out when we have him at 198. Okay.
They're going to have a little discussion about the score.
Well, if the total was 278 at the start of the rack, there's one ball too many up there now. Well, no, he just took a foul, so that would be right. That would be right. Yeah, okay. I don't see a ready safety here unless he plans to try and thin the 13. The problem with trying to thin the 3 is that you have to control the speed of all 3 balls instead of just 2.
Yeah, that's...
This is no bargain no matter what he chooses to do.
He's taking a long look at it, and I don't blame him. Pretty sure he's going to have to hit the edge of the 13.
Well, he's going to soft roll this and leave both balls on the bottom rail.
I don't think that's going to work.
If the edge of the 13 shuts John off from the 3, then it'll work, but it's awfully subtle. I don't know how you can preserve a break shot out of this.
Well, I think that he's going to spin this ball. He's got to get a little distance.
Well, he has to spin the ball. He doesn't really have access to the point of aim without curving the cue
back
ball a little
towards the
bit.
13.
He's got a few degrees of angle here, and he might be able to clip the corner ball. Okay, John Schmidt less than 3 racks from the finish line. Unexpected turn of events in this confrontation. Now we're at double elimination in this phase of the tournament, is that right? Or single? I thought it went to a few years ago. It was single elimination when they got to 200.
Nice.
They're going to 200. Yeah, that was nicely played. What you'd like to do with that shot is drive out 3 balls rather than 2. You get one towards the side rail, one in the center of the table where the 2 ball is now, and then you get a break shot like the 8 ball. Since only 2 balls came out, he doesn't have the best opportunity to re-break the balls, except with this.
He's going to tickle him.
Yeah, he won't break them to hell and gone, but he'll get a few balls loose.
Sure.
All right.
We watched Ray Martin give us a lesson in tickling the rack the other night.
That's the man to watch.
I learned to play pool from Ray Martin's 99 critical shots.
Came out a few months before my book, and my thought at the time was, you don't play the game one shot at a time, why teach it that way? But the fact that his book is still out there and selling well suggests I was wrong. Not the first time, and it won't be the last. I actually met Ray's co-author. He's a giant in advertising.
Is he?
Was. He's gone now. Rosser Reeves wrote both M&M's Melt in Your Mouth, Not in Your Hand, and Double Your Pleasure, Double Your Fun. But he was known as the master of hard sell. And he's a legend in advertising. And he's one of the 4 founders of the modern day school, and people still talk about him. You know, this needs a Rosser Reeves approach. A no-nonsense economy like that, the man's genius has been proven time and again.
Awesome. Now that's the industry that you were in.
Yes, yes. Rosser was Ray's student at the New York Athletic Club. Ray had a job as teaching pro there, and Rosser said to him, well, with all your knowledge, why don't you write a book? And Ray said, well, I'm a high school graduate, but nothing else qualifies me to write a book. And Rosser Reeves said, well, I can. So they wrote the book together, although Rosser Reeves claims Ray didn't write any of the manuscript. I mean, he shared his knowledge, and Rosser interpreted it, but they certainly made a successful venture there. Rosser Reeves admitted he was both a lousy student and a lousy player, which was nice of him. But among American players, if you want to learn something about position play, the players to watch in this tournament are Martin Siegel, Hopkins, and Dave Daya. And among the Europeans, I would say Ortman probably plays the best patterns of all.
I agree with that.
Suke, if he were here, plays patterns equal to Ortman's.
Suke plays really nice patterns.
Yeah, he plays
Smart
all,
patterns.
calm, relaxed patterns. You never catch the Europeans raking the balls.
No.
For one thing, they don't gamble, which helps explain their superiority in games like straight ball. They don't care a fig for betting on this. They train for it. I mean, they take instruction from qualified coaches like Ralph Eckert, who's here also, and they drill. Mika does road work and is in the gym 5 days a week. They treat it differently than we do because they are not accustomed to, with the exception of Niles Fyan maybe, they are not accustomed to matching up. Doesn't interest them in the least. Two-rail bank. He's explaining the two-rail bank to John. It's probably not what John wants to hear. we used to, God, we had a city champion in the early 60s in Chicago. Not only did it take him 15 minutes to run a typical rack of balls, but then as the balls were being re-racked by a referee, he'd come over to you in your chair and explain why he chose that sequence. It was enough to make you nuts. He went undefeated for 2 years. Nobody could handle it. Between the slow play and the lectures in between racks, it was absolutely impossible to beat him.
Here's a little salt and lemon for that one.
Yeah, really, yeah. Rub it in nice. It'll feel better. Then the same player, who was a bricklayer by profession, hurt his back on the job and he couldn't bend low enough to play pool anymore, so he took up caroms. And he was a good caroms player, but he was equally slow. And in one tournament match, 35 points, he took 5 hours and made his opponent miss his plane. So they brought out a chess clock and said, you have to shoot within 60 seconds from now on. He gave up the game. I can't do this. A little more space between these last three balls than you like. You'd like a tighter triangle than this, but obviously it's viable. Needs to be precise on getting on that key ball here. That'll do just fine.
Well, he wants it to stop, and I don't blame him. He doesn't want to have to.
Now he has to soft roll it in the side.
Yeah.
But it's straight, and he'll get the angle he wants out of this.
He's going to bring it back out to the middle of the table here.
Okay, now this is the first time in this match that we've had the cue ball nearer the rail than the object ball. So we'll see if Mika chooses to drive this ball, get through the rack rather than come off it.
Let's see where they decide to put the score. I lost track of one or two of the balls.
Well, if it comes up two balls short of the number of racks times 14, we'll know they got it right. 163 to what they put up?
163
to 146. It looks like.
Looks like 140.
140. 303. I don't see how that can be right, but okay. Not my problem to decide.
The player's always right in the end.
That's 5 balls short of 22 times 14, and there haven't been 5 fouls.
There were 4 fouls.
No, okay, the score still isn't right.
Yeah.
It should be 308, a total of 308 minus the fouls.
Mm-hmm. That's all right.
All right, well, it's their problem to work with. We're just going to call the balls as they go in. When you decide you've made 200 of them, quit. So we've had a somewhat peculiar match here. Wild swings in the score. Temperamental outbursts from a player you don't expect to see making them. We've had some colorful stuff.
And in the end, we'll all understand why the guy that has the cue in his hand is always the favorite in straight pool.
Oh, yeah. There's not much you can do from the chair unless you're Siegel. This 13 ball would be a break shot. It's lower than most players like. Combination coming off the table here. He might bump the 4 ball out here.
I think he got the 3 still.
No, he didn't. But I hope you appreciate the way I adjusted to the pink 4 and called it correctly. It wasn't easy.
I was going to commend you on that.
It was not easy. This ball's coming off now anyway. I don't know what he wants to use for a break here. Both the 9 and the 11 are higher than most players would like.
He's got the key ball.
He's got this rack. He's got less than 10 balls difference between these two players, whatever the score happens to be. We think it's a ball off.
I think it's a ball off, but I can say this. It's going to be easy for me to figure out what they think Mika should have.
Yes. That's what he should have. Well, that's what he should have given the incorrect score.
Now, it looks like he's going to have to follow down onto this head ball, and
Yes,
that gets a
and
little bit funky.
Yeah, you can get trapped there real easy because from here the head ball has all the mass of the stack behind it. So he needs a combination of speed and spin that will get him off the top 2 balls. And he did it more gently than I thought he would. But only 4 balls came out. And none is really particularly good to break the remainers. I can't tell
looking at
this.
that 9 right now, just going right into the stack, and I don't agree with that because he has no insurance.
No insurance shots, and break shots with balls coming off the rail are just not where you want to be. There's too little you can predict from them. He got away with that. They're open balls. The top 2 balls look like they can be made in the cluster. The 11 is open. You need a table mechanic?
The tournament director, John Lehman, just came in and said, I need a table mechanic.
He's doing a wonderful job despite some alarming conditions. The lights went off on one table last night in the middle of a player's stroke. He made the ball, remarkably, and then they measured the remaining balls on the table and set them up somewhere else. Mika found a dead shot. We didn't look for those. Of course, we could hardly designate them as dead from here anyway.
Yeah. Well, we can kind of say, hey, they look close enough.
Except for the 12 and 4 balls, there are no problems here. The balls are open.
I think what we ought to do is do an S video out and put it onto a 70-inch screen here for us.
Yeah, that would be helpful. High def.
I'll do that next time, huh?
Yeah, please.
We're watching it off a 15-inch monitor here.
Yeah,
maybe I should think about that.
And I'm in the throes of deep myopia to begin with. Nicely done. I think the 11 wants to get the 11 out of there. Good and early. He should. Excuse me. What we got here? Feedback detected. JR doesn't want any feedback. Taking the safe way.
Unfortunately, I get feedback all the time.
Oh, I'm sure it's a full-time existence for you. we're quiet here because Cindy Lee is in the room. It's an incredible distraction. Okay, now soft rolling the ball like this is where you want to be for straight pool. For players like John Schmidt, who were weaned on 9-ball, that aspect of the game does not come as easily. This has been a nice trouble-free run now. I don't know what he plans for that 2-ball tandem over on the left.
No, what color is that ball?
I'm afraid it's pink.
He can run into it right here. Oh, I think he wanted to hit the pink ball.
I think so too, and he hit the 7 by mistake. He manufactured an excellent one shot with the break ball if he wants to play for it now, but this is not what he had intended.
He's looking at maybe a carom here and
I think the combination, which should have come off the table before this, or been dealt with. He wanted to the last shot he took.
Sure.
But if he makes this, he can save the 1 for a break ball and he can draw the cue ball to get above the 15 and 7.
Well, I think he's actually going to try and set up on the 7 after this.
That may be.
A little draw, slide in between.
There we go.
Oh, look at this.
Look, watch out now.
Look at this.
That's not ideal.
That is not ideal. As a matter of fact, that's one of the worst things that could happen at that point.
Well, he can get to the 12 and the side off the 7, but that leaves him with the choice of 2 break shots. And as I explained before, you generally do not want 2 break shots on the table as your last 2 balls. He'll get position for the 12 on the side here, or he'll move one of those 2 balls. So he's coming around. Okay.
Right.
I thought he would get position for the 12 on the right-hand side, but this is okay.
He's officially taken the lead in the match.
Well, he's only
$1.19. Get you a cup of coffee down at the nearest convenience store.
It won't be very good coffee either. But now they're going to clean the balls in the middle of the run. Clean the cue ball in the middle of the run. Normally, you do this while the balls are being react. I don't know what Mika has in that pocket, but let's hope it contributes to a clean cue ball. Okay, now notice that neither of these balls gets him to the other one relatively smoothly, which is why you don't want to leave 2 break shots. It can be done, but it's not ideal. There's Carl Kantrowitz, esteemed photographer and official around pool. Actually, I've been in touch with Carl for 40-plus years, I guess.
Excellent. Wow. Carl's actually been our referee on 1 or 2 matches.
Carl called a very good game last night. Oh, there goes some lights. No wonder they need a table mechanic. God, as if the game didn't have enough to worry about. No sanctions, collapsing booms, lights going out. Charlie had his inaugural tournament in this. The hotel sprang a leak and water came through a wall and cascaded down on one of the tournament tables. They had to close it off. The table was ruined.
Why? Why would they shut it off?
I think they should have made the players play.
You got to adapt to your conditions.
Duplicate your conditions of the rooms back home. Again, at Bensinger's we had rats the size of ducks once, and they'd run along the overhead pipes and occasionally fall off and scatter the balls on the table. It wasn't easy playing 1 pocket at Bensinger's. You had to beat the guy you were playing and the rats above your head.
And they say pool has no flavor.
Oh, pool has a flavor. It's just not vanilla. Vanilla still has 40% of the market, so pool is definitely an acquired taste.
Yeah, but vanilla gets a bad rap, though.
Well, sure. Look at all the things you call vanilla that have nothing to do with flavor. If something is bland, it's automatically vanilla.
You know that it takes a year to grow a vanilla pod?
Good vanilla bean, yeah.
The processing, and it's a beautiful flower.
It's like good coffee. It comes from a bean that has to be properly cultivated. I have never particularly cared for vanilla ice cream, but I respect the fact that it's always had 40% of the market. I'm from communications.
Way to reduce my passion for ice cream to a number.
That's probably okay, too.
That's all right. And folks, the score that you see up at the top, that's really just a score that we had at the end of the rack. We're not going to really worry about keeping up with the balls until we're
regarding it as an estimate at this point in time. You'd like pool scores to be a little more precise than that. After all, this is the only pool game in which score is even kept.
You should be able to nudge this 13 a little bit here.
Well, there's 4 balls in the cluster that need to be separated. I think he'll use the 7 to do that and save the 13 for his next shot. And one of the 4 balls will become a break shot. No, he didn't do that either. He keeps fooling us.
I didn't think he wanted.
I don't think that was a particularly wise choice he made. Neither does he.
Upon the outcome, yes.
Yeah, it's easy to judge the shots after they've been done.
Here we go. Now he
can go into the little 3-ball cluster.
Now, nothing's really a key ball unless he hits the 6 by itself up towards break ball.
I think he's probably going to try and hit the 11 and make the 6 his break ball. That's the easiest thing to do from here.
Well, I believe that what we're looking at here is if he hits the 6 only, the 6 will have a decent line. See, he's looking at this right now.
It's a 6 only. It'll come off the ball above it and roll into break shot position.
He plays it off the 9 and carries it into the...
It's going to take a fine hit to get the 6 cleanly out of this. Now, he went into the 11, like I said, and he doesn't really have an idea. Well, the 6 came back off the side rail. Sure. It's a mediocre break shot.
Yeah, it's not bad.
If he has something here, if the 9 clears the 6, well, it looks like he's going to take the 6. So much for that. Now he's going to move the 11 ball out now. It's a little late in the rack to be manufacturing break shots. But nothing has come up before this. So
real light tickle.
There it is.
There it is.
There it is. God, I love new cloth.
If he can get down to the 8, the 13 is not the worst key ball.
No, the shot he just made would not have been easy on worn cloth.
Oh, no. To tickle that ball.
Tickle the ball. You wouldn't get it to the pocket, for one thing. And it hit it hard enough to get it to the pocket, you'd drive the 11 farther than you wanted.
He does, he knows he wants to get down to the 8.
Yes, he does.
I guess it's going to be his key ball.
Borrow again from the Rolling Stones, you can't always get what you want.
Did you ever see them in concert?
12 times.
Only 12, huh?
So far. There's only going to be one more, and I don't know if it'll include Chicago or not, but next year is their 50th anniversary, and there's talk about a 50th anniversary tour. The band is just incredibly greedy, and ticket prices are going to be out of sight, but that's still concert heaven. Okay,
well, they got to make sure the 10th generation from Keith Richards. And
they do transcend age. Okay. Mika's at 184 here, and he's no, that's not right either. 182.
182.
So we got a total of
the players say.
The players say, well, they agree with us. 345. That they're still over by a ball. The score should total 346, but that's all right.
They're doing good.
Mika needs just over a rack to win here. And I suppose since it was not he who raked the balls, there would be some poetic justice if he won.
I believe you're right.
You hate to see a guy rake the balls and then win a match. It doesn't seem like just desserts.
Well, it shows a little resilience that
Yeah.
he can come back.
He came back and made it a contest, but he'd have been a lot better off if he hadn't got upset in the first place. And there's a freak foul.
Knocked that ball.
Not a foul. He made a ball he didn't intend to.
Sure, he got a freebie there. Yeah. He wanted to scatter him. He hit it square.
He square right in the face and sent it into the subway.
All the kinetic energy went down the hole.
There's still ways to re-break the balls. If he played the 6 and stopped, he'd have the 2 and the 5 or the 4, whichever that is for the key ball. Can't reach the 6, so he's going to go this way.
Yeah, he's going to have to get over.
He didn't want that either.
That 13 doesn't look like it has action either.
No, the last aspects of this run have been less than textbook, but like we say, no style points.
Well, it did have a hole. I was incorrect.
What I would do here, which counts for absolutely nothing, is shoot the 1 or 9 as a stop shot and play the blue stripe to separate those 3 balls nearest the center.
Exactly. I'd be looking to get around on that 3, if not underneath into the side as soon as possible. I just want the 3 out of there so I have some...
Well, if he opens up the 3 balls, that'll take care of it. Again, he doesn't have quite the angle on the stripe that he'd really prefer.
I don't prefer hitting these balls. I would
You'd rather pick them off clean?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'd do that if I were trying to save the ball he's about to shoot. It doesn't look like he wants to do that. The ability to switch over and shoot left-handed like this is critical.
Sure.
You should develop that if you can. My boys were growing up. I taught them to play. My handicap was I had to play with my opposite hand. So I can make a few left-handed shots now that I would not have been able to make otherwise. But it's a good tool to have.
I used to play, about 15, 20 minutes a day right-handed.
That's a good idea. Taps into the other side of the brain. Okay, now
I used a bridge about 5 times in my life was the residual of that. Couldn't tell you how to use a bridge for the life.
So you're one of those guys who calls the bridge other names?
That thing?
Yeah. Ladies' aid, pimp stick, crutch. The bridge gets no respect. The bridge is the Rodney Dangerfield aspect of this game.
That stick with a funny tip.
Yeah. They've gone exotic, too, now. There's a bridge out there that looks like something you'd use on a reluctant POW if you wanted to get him to talk. All right, now. Okay. Mika hit this with center ball. The cue ball is going to limp towards the center of the table. And
he's going to need 4 to end this match.
He'll undoubtedly get 3 balls open with this break shot. I shouldn't say undoubtedly, but he sure figures to.
Well, John Schmidt's face is telling it all. He's looking over at the score, and he doesn't like putting those balls into that rack right now.
No, none of these shooters are used to racking the balls. They're used to having the balls racked for them while they stay at the table. This score is nowhere near correct, but we'll take it. We'll take it. It totals 1 ball less than 24 racks, and it should total 4 balls less. But it's their problem. And again, a straight pool tournament in the best in the best of all worlds you'd have referees and scorekeepers for every match.
Sure.
It's simply not feasible economically to do that here, and qualified people are hard to find. People who know the rules of straight pool in their entirety are very rare.
Very rare.
All right, well, Mika only needs 3, and it's a pretty good bet he's going to get them.
Yeah.
That was casual.
And he's going to concede the match?
Concedes the match, so Mika wins by some score. We're not sure exactly what it was, but we do know Mika got 200 first. This is one of the things players do is they practice shots that they just missed.
John, this was the ball that he missed when he was on 124.
As though to prove, see, I can make this shot and I should make it, and there's the real attitude right there.
Well, folks, we're going to thank you for showing up today and joining us.
Thank you for being with us. Come on back. We got Ray Martin next. You'll want to see him play.
Excellent. And being that Kamui was mentioned during the show, I think I'm going to end out with one of their commercials, and we'll invite you back in about 10 minutes or so.
As long as they're a sponsor, sure. After the tantrum we just saw, I was going to suggest they switch to Q-Master or something else, but all right, we got a Kamui commercial, and we'll be back at you with Ray Martin versus Pools College graduates. So y'all come back here.